course aim is day 4 of the nuts and bolts unit. Today we'll discuss how your grades will be determined, and we will explore the structural components of art, the elements and principles of design, and how they can communicate ideas. The course aim is for you to understand how art communicates, and the unit goal is to establish a foundation for your success during this course. Assignment grades will be determined using a point percentage method based on specific criteria. The criteria will be identified by the instructor, and assignments will be given a layer category. Your term grades, or quarter grades, will be determined through awarded points on the assignments and through the weighted layer categories. Foundation layer work is weighted to 10% of the grade, project layer work is weighted at 75%, and the critique, examination, and daily focus layers are each worth 5% of your term grade. Record these weights in the unit handout. Since you aren't here to do that today, you can either write them down on a scrap piece of paper and make sure you get them into the unit handout when you return, or just check a friend's unit handout and make sure you get them listed. Your final course grade, the semester grade, the one that will be recorded on your transcript, is an average of the term grades. In other words, the two quarters will be given equal weight. If you get a 90% first quarter and an 80% second quarter, your course grade will be 85%. More specific and detailed information on your grades for this course can be found through the grades and grading document found on my lesson plan page. Record this information in the unit handout as well. Today's content objective is to have you understand the relationship between the elements of art and the principles of design. And the language objective, which you won't be here to do, is to verbally communicate the ideas of what is being symbolized in the picture. Just make sure as you're looking at these things you are having a discussion with yourself about how the elements and principles communicate ideas. In any language, there must be a vocabulary, words, single, distinct, meaningful elements used to communicate ideas. In art, these meaningful parts are the elements of art. They are used together or alone to communicate ideas. These include line, shape, form, color, texture, value, and space. Record this list in your unit handout. Again, you aren't here today to do this. Just be sure on your return you get this element of art list and the principles of design list coming up recorded into the handout when you return. This is an example of how color can communicate in art. It's the same image, just modified for different colors. When I look at these two, the top one feels warmer to me and the bottom one feels colder. This is because I associate the colors of the top with the fires that I've seen throughout my life, and the lower one feels like water or the colors of winter when it is colder. So just by using different colors, you can communicate an idea. Here are the same two images again. This time, the value has been changed. One is dark, one is light. Working in a pair or in groups of three, I want you to discuss what you think they communicate and explain why. In any language, there is an established structure that is used to more formally and directly communicate ideas. This underlying structure of a language is called syntax. For example, in English, we use the adjective after the noun, but in Spanish, they put the adjective before the noun. So in English, we might say green table, but in Spanish, direct English translation would be table green. In Spanish, it is mesa verde. Mesa meaning table, verde meaning green. Table green. In English, it is green table. The syntax in the visual language of art is provided by the principles of design. These include pattern, rhythm, motion, emphasis, scale, variety, and unity. Take the time to record these terms in your unit handout. This is an example of the principles of design providing context. In this case, we're dealing with scale, which is the relative size of something. So you have the same image, but one is small, the other is large. So how does that size difference change what is being said? Work in your small groups again, pairs or threes. Discuss your ideas and defend your ideas. An analogy is comparing two things, typically for the purpose. An analogy is comparing two things, typically for the purpose of explaining or for clarification. The analogy of the relationship between the elements and principles is like words to syntax, which we've covered. Another way to think about it is the elements are the ingredients to the principles, which are the recipe. Can you create your own analogy for the relationship between the elements and principles? You will complete the baseline assessment during the next class. You will write an opinion paper that explains the meaning of a work of art. You will have one class period to complete this paper. So let's look ahead at your choices. One of your three choices for this assignment is to use Harvey Dunn's After School. Another choice for this assignment would be to use Oscar Howe's Sankawakan. Forgive my mispronunciation. A third choice for this assignment is Terry Redland's Kali in the Lights of Home. You will have a cover page with your full name and class period, the image, and the image information. You will then write 3 paragraphs. The first paragraph is a description of the things you see in the work of art. The second is where you start to develop an interpretation of the artwork through the symbolism. And the third paragraph is a continuing interpretation of the artwork through how they use the elements of art and principles of design. You will receive full credit of 50 points on the examination layer for completing this assignment, as long as I see indications that you are giving your best effort. Your actual score on this test will be used as a baseline, which will be compared to the score of your final exam to determine the growth you achieved during this course. there will be some time in class for the students to do some research about these three artists and these artworks in particular. A trivia question that I'm throwing out for them to answer is, what do all three of these artists have in common?